Kings, Queens, and In-Betweens, welcome back to the City Boys podcast. My name is Ethan Thornton, joined by Jacob Ratcliffe, and we are here to talk about St. Louis City's most recent game against the LA Galaxy, take you through the lineups, break down the game, give you our points on the match, take you through kit clash, and preview our next upcoming opponent. But first, we have got Jacob back from his scouting report. He's been all over Europe for Louis and the STLSC team. Jacob, first of all, welcome back. How are you doing tonight, brother?
Thank you, thank you. It was a long European journey, touched a little bit of the Middle East, had to scout a couple players from a couple leagues over there.
Okay. What you got
Before
for
I
us?
get into who I found, I will say it is great to be back. Took a couple weeks off, rejuvenated, juiced back up. But I think I did find the player to solve all of our issues. And he's a little bit up there in age now. He goes by the name of Neymar da Silva Santos Jr.,
Oh,
33-year-old winger who's currently playing for Al Hilal.
did he maybe get his move back to Brazil at
I
some
think he
point?
is back in the Brazilian league.
Hey, I respect your connections, though. That's a pretty big play to make overseas.
Yeah, he and I sat down, talked about what it would take to get him to come back to the States. Uh, the contract's not out of our realm of being able
Okay.
to decide. We might have to, you know, sell our soul in
Hey,
order to afford him, but he would put butts in seats and balls in
yeah.
the back of the net.
Neymar would tear up the MLS, dude.
Yeah, there's no way we're getting him. This is all facetious. Do not take me seriously. Neymar's
Between
not coming.
between the Neymar rumor and Gio Reyna transfer rumor, dude, we are on a tear of rumors right now.
We are your home for transfer rumors.
Oh, well, Jacob, you picked a great game to return to because St. Louis City decided, yeah, we are going to put on a thriller. I predicted a 4-1 St. Louis City victory in our last episode, and I wasn't exactly close, but the total goals was almost there. 6 goals and a 3-3 draw against the LA Galaxy this weekend for St. Louis City. Jacob, before we get into the lineups and before we get into the game, how are you feeling 24 hours after this result?
I feel about the same as I did after the end of the game, which was a win would have been great.
Mm.
However, I'm really not that disappointed in the draw.
Okay, so you're
Like,
feeling a little more optimistic potentially than when Olaf was just not even knocking in goals.
yeah, I know like we beat LA Galaxy early in the season with Olaf at the helm, but that was not in a great spot, LA Galaxy at the time. And we were, still really, really great defensive team at that point in time. So a 3-0 W over Galaxy early in the season was awesome. However, this LA Galaxy is definitely on the front foot going forward now. They've got quality all over the pitch. Granted, all three of the goals we conceded are like truly our own issues. We shot ourselves in the foot on
Mm.
them, but Galaxy's so good that they're gonna put those chances away.
Right. That's something that I think has almost been lost in all of the talk about the Galaxy this season, how it's gone for them, because ultimately they do have Gabriel Peck and Joseph Paintsel on the field. And those are two of the most dangerous attackers in the MLS. I know that their numbers do not really back that statement up, but watching them perform is another story. And Gabriel Peck specifically had himself a night against St. Louis
Yeah.
City, man.
And he makes the headlines for LA Galaxy all the time, but Marco Royce is still Marco Royce, one of the best
Mm-hmm.
center attacking mids of our generation for sure, in the twilight of his career, and he also had himself a pretty great night in St. Louis.
No kidding. It definitely seemed like he was up to the Roman Berkey rivalry on the occasion this match. I think that the LA Galaxy, certainly since getting their first win, are a team renewed. But let's talk about St. Louis City,
Yeah.
who we're all here to talk more about. Jacob, will you bring us through the lineups, please?
Yeah, so we came out in a 4-2-3-1 this week. Not something we haven't seen before from Critch. Um, a couple of the players I would have liked to have not seen start, but that's not my decision to make. One person I love to see start every week is Roman Berkey between the
Mhm.
sticks. From right to left, we had Thomas Totland, Kyle Hebert, Timo Baumgartel, and Jay Reed. Our two pivot midfielders, holding midfielders, were Akil Watts and Alfredo Morales. Simon Betcher made his way out on the right mid again,
Yep.
slash tucking with Klaus as well. Marcel Hartle, I think, is truly coming into his own as a really high caliber center attacking mid in the MLS. And then Celio Pompeo out on the left side with the man of the hour, Santa Claus, up top.
Come on, Jacob. What a vindicating game for this podcast, for all the people who have ever defended Klaus over the past year or so,
Yeah.
because it has been difficult at times to defend Joao Klauss. But the reality is that he has produced another historic moment for the club and gone out and got the club's first hat trick in the history of St. Louis City. Who else could it have been, Jacob?
It does kind of suck that it took almost 2.5 years to have a first hat trick, but if it was gonna be anybody, it was gonna be Joao Klaus.
Absolutely. Such a well deserved hat trick for him. He earned the hell out of all three of those goals, man.
Yeah. We did have some substitutions. Conrad Vollum came on and then came off with an injury. In the post-match presser, Critch didn't seem too worried about his injury, but we will see. This has been kind of a theme with the squad.
Mm-hmm.
JGR made an appearance. Cedric Toyshirt came on late. Zonde Silva came on, as well as one of the players who wish he could have a ball back, Joey Zielinski.
Mm. Absolutely. I thought the subs in this game were good. It was kind of upsetting to see Conrad Ballum go down in kind of a heap. Apparently, he's dealing with some tightness and some soreness. Also, Henry Kessler didn't start this match because of an injury. It is becoming somewhat of a theme, Jacob. Like you mentioned, it would be nice to have St. Louis City's full 11 at our disposal. Still, Chris Durkin dealing with a knock as well. I mean, yeah, it seems like an abbreviated lineup, but I do like how Critch is at the very least formulating the attack.
I will say specifically to our defensive lineup, I think we get hurt the most on defense when we have injuries because Hebert isn't what we've wanted Hebert to be as far as a center back goes. Josh Yarrow really can't come in and make that big of a difference. He's had more woes this year than good performances.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice to see that Timo Baumgartel is staying healthy, and since he's pretty much got that first start underneath his belt, he's continued to stay in the back line, so
Yep.
knock on some wood there. And then it looks like we're getting all of our outside backs healthy again, which is great,
Mm-hmm.
but not the best performance out of Thomas Totland this weekend, not the best performance out of Jay Reed specifically this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Joey Zielinski kind of had a blunder.
There's definitely some moments, and I would definitely pick out our outside backs as not the strongest performers in this LA Galaxy game. On the subject of Jay Reed, though, Jacob, I was initially extremely nervous to see him and Gabriel Peck battle in this
Yeah.
game. I thought that, on paper, this has Peck written all over it, but I was impressed, especially in the first half, by Jay Reed's ability to defend one on one. It wasn't perfect, and I think that part of Jay Reed's game still has room to improve. But since returning from injury, I believe that's probably Jay Reed's best performance with an asterisk next to
Yeah.
the one specific moment that
A large asterisk.
we'll get into here in just a moment. But Jacob, are you got any more thoughts on the lineup, or are you ready to get into the game?
I can't wait for Alfredo Morales to no longer be in a City jersey.
Oof, bro, yeah, man. It's I'm waiting to see what Lutz saw in Alfredo Morales. I think we've maybe caught glimpses, but it the experiment is not working out in my mind. think that Grayson put it best about Yarrow and Kyle Hebert that they, in his mind, aren't MLS starting quality center backs. And that's kind of how I feel about Alfredo Morales right now. There might be an MLS team that he can start on. I would much prefer Edu Levin starting in that left pivot role.
It is tough because who he, subs in for and takes the minutes for when he's out is Edu Lovin, and he's not Edu's caliber whatsoever. So like it's a high bar to put him up next to, and he
True.
doesn't really come close to it in most facets of the game.
Mm. Yeah, well said. No, it's not. We notice when Edu Lovin is not on the field, whether it's ball distribution. I specifically notice it the most in our set pieces, Jacob. I think
Yeah,
that while Hartle does have excellent quality on the ball, I personally don't think his corner kicks or his in our attacking third services have been of the same danger as Edu Lovin.
there's just no venom on his ball when
And
he strikes it.
it's the perfect way to describe it, man. Like it's hard. It just doesn't look like it's going to punish the defense. It doesn't strike fear into the defense's heart to see that kind of ball fly in or float in, you know?
Yeah, I think specifically to corners, it gives the goalkeeper and the back line that's right there so much time with the ball in the air to like get themselves set up and ready to clear it, as opposed to honestly piss missiles that come in from Edu.
Yeah, I mean, it genuinely scary for a defender to try and get up there. Okay, put your head on it or get punched in the head by the goalkeeper.
Yeah,
It's a scary moment. While we're talking about Marcel Hartzell, though, I do want to back up your point that I think he really has found he's finding his feet in the league right now. Only 2 goals and 1 assist so far this season, which are very far below what we were expecting, Jacob. I think we had him pegged for like a 20 goal season or something. But just as important is are his 18 starts. His consistency this year has been unbelievable. He's gone 90 minutes most of the matches as well. On top of that, he has an engine like Chris Durkin, man. He does not stop running, it seems like.
he almost had an insane assist to Simon Betcher.
Yeah, that outside of the foot pass was disgusting.
Yeah, it deserved to get put into the back of the net.
I also think I saw Hartle try a scorpion kick at one point in the game, dude. And I know for a fact he's bagged a bicycle kick for St. Pauli. So the man has an acrobatic goal in his locker every once in a while.
I know against San Jose, he tried to bike across.
So
That was insane.
he's one for the flair, man. He'll randomly pull out a Rabona around the midfield line every now and then too.
He is fun to watch. And yeah, before we get too deep into it, he might make an appearance in my point this week.
Okay, okay. Then we'll put a pause on the Hartle conversations then, Jacob. Let's start talking about this game a little bit because it was one of St. Louis City's most exciting matches of the season so far. I got started around the 40th minute with Klaus's goal. Pretty good build-up play on the top of the box between him and Hartle, and he would nutmeg Mitrovic. It looked like a real finisher's goal there, Jacob.
Yeah,
Great to
something
see.
that in the past we've seen Klaus miss.
Or get saved, not even put on target in some instances. So, yeah, very much refreshing to see Klaus hit the back of the net from a very good scoring chance, a high XG chance, as I think some stat people will call it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, though, the LA Galaxy responded not long after. They would build up on the right side. Someone would play in a pass to Nascimento, who would flick on Royce. Royce gets in behind everyone, plays the ball across, and Gabriel Peck is there to tap it in from close range. This is one of the things we mentioned, Jacob. Not a bad goal we necessarily conceded. I think this is good buildup from the LA Galaxy, despite them slicing through our defense like a hot knife through butter.
Yeah, this more points to the fact that like we just can't hold a lead to save our lives.
Yeah, man, it was not long afterward either. Still in the first half, going into halftime with a lead in this game would have certainly changed the dynamic of the second half.
Similarly to the second goal for both clubs, we come out at halftime, score pretty quickly. Also, we're brushing over the Klaus goals because if you have not seen them on social media, you've been living underneath a rock. I think I've seen at least 40 different edits of Klaus's
They're
goals.
all fantastic. Please go watch them all.
Yeah. But Klaus gets put in behind from a great Celio over the top through ball and takes a touch on the bounce, ball's still bouncing, and he strikes it near post into the roof of the net. A great goal. And then quickly after that, LA gets their second. Totland gives the ball away to no one else but Johnny Nelson, a
Had to
former
be.
City outside back. Johnny Nelson passes it into Royce, who, with the most class ever on the inside of his foot with his back to Baumgartel, redirects it as a nutmeg through Baumgartel's legs, putting whatchamacallit, who was it?
Nascimento.
Yeah, Nasty Nine Nascimento in on goal, and he shouldn't have been in on goal because Jay Reed was way out of position.
Hmm.
Literally, he saw the nutmeg. He's about 15 yards away, and he just starts sprinting. It's like, dude, we needed this 30 seconds ago. You should have been on him a long time ago.
I respect the belief in Baumgartel to stop up the play, but yeah, we needed him in front of the striker there.
Yeah. And then, Nascimento just, again, a finisher's goal, just tucks it into a corner and doesn't aggressively shush the crowd over in the supporter section, but does put his finger over his mouth, which it's par for the course because City Park is such a tough place to play, but you're just adding yourself to the list of enemies that this club has seen.
Him and Martin Olofsky are now the list of two people that I know for a fact have run to the corner and shushed in the
Joseph
north end.
Martinez.
Oh yeah, that I mean the list is growing, dude. It's just
Yeah.
add another two people that don't like the guy.
Yeah.
The LA Galaxy would then add another goal to give them a 3-2 lead in the Jay Reed asterisk moment that we are referring to. Joey Zielinski would pick up the ball from Marcel Hartzell on the right flank, try and play a back pass to Jay Reed. Jay Reed tries to get his body in a position it looks like to take a touch. He ends up slipping and falling Steven Gerrard style, and Gabriel Peck gets in on goal and does what Gabriel Peck does when he gets in on goal, frankly. He takes it around Roman Berkey, who, in the moment, in my opinion, does pretty well, as good as a goalkeeper can do. And Gabriel Peck finishes putting the LA Galaxy in front in the 85th minute, the 86th minute, very late on in the match. I
Yeah, this
pers-
one was tough because at first glance, I wanted to blame Joey Zielinski because your last man back is Jay Reed, and the pass isn't great by any means, but it's not terrible in the fact that Jay Reed can't handle it.
Mhm.
I mean, first thought I think everybody had was Jay Reed's just gonna boot it,
Send that thing to Mars, man.
but then I don't necessarily see it as a touch. It looks like he tries to like let the ball run across his body, and then his studs just don't catch grass after that, and he
Yeah.
just eats it. And yeah, no, I solely put this goal on Jay Reed. At first, I wanted to divvy up some of the blame, but now this is 100% Jay Reed's fault.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, and I think he'll have a tough one watching the film back. But either way, I still don't think it takes all the way away from Jay Reed's game. Overall, he had a positive performance, and to harp too much on that negative moment would, I think, take away too much from that. So I'm going to put this on good attacking and poor decision making from our pretty young and generally inexperienced, might not be the right word, but inexperienced fullbacks for St. Louis City.
I mean, Jay Reed is a MLS Next Pro prospect, and Joey Zielinski is our second round super draft pick.
So they're not European prospects exactly.
Yeah.
Either way, tough third goal to concede. However, Jacob, we were not finished yet. The ball would be played in the 95th minute by Roman Berkey, takes a long set piece in our own half. Timo Baumgartel would flick it on. Joao Klauss would bring it down in the box. The touch would take him very outside of the goal, Jacob. He's in a precarious position here. It does not matter to the man on fire. The hot hand puts it in the back of the net with a laser beam rocket finish into the opposite corner, upper 90. Really great goal from Joao Klauss to save a point, get the club's first hat trick, and yeah, save us from a loss.
The way he scores his second goal sets up his ability to score his third goal because his
Mm,
second goal, he beat the keeper top corner near post.
yep.
And I think in that split moment, he was like, all right, I've done that. I've got a nutmeg finish. I've got a top right corner finish.
Mm-hmm.
Let me smash it top left, see what happens. And it was a boot, man.
Yeah, that's a sweet finish, dude. That's the kind of goal that a striker high in confidence is scoring. And that's what I saw from Joao Klauss, not only on that goal, but in this game. You can tell
Yeah.
that under Critchley, he is a man renewed. He spoke to that after the game and just the belief that Critchley has in him. And it is so great to see that on the field. I hope that Simon Betcher catches some of that belief here soon as well.
Yeah, Simon Betcher needed to put at least two chances away this match. He had two really great scoring opportunities.
He did, and it's the kind of goals that St. Louis City needs to be scoring. A team that has been hurting for goals this season and not getting too many opportunities in a game. So letting any go to waste just really hurts. It's the reason why we lost in Portland as well. So it's good to see us at least not punished too harshly off the LA Galaxy.
Yeah. So we leave Energizer Park for about 10 days with a point.
Crazy.
We're back again. This is a preview to the preview, but we are back again on June 25th against Orlando.
Probably not the opponent that I would have picked out of, everyone that
Just
we
see
had.
immediately.
But it'll definitely be a very good test for St. Louis City. The defense will finally have a lot of time to rest and get healthy. And I expect if we have Henry Kessler and Timo Baumgartel starting for a very good game against a very good Eastern Conference opponent.
But before we go way too deep into the preview, I think we should start with your point from this match first.
I would be glad to, Jacob, because for once I'm kind of feeling like this podcast pessimist. All right. It's as much as things change, Jacob, things stay the same at St. Louis City. This is the fourth out of our last five games where we've conceded a goal in the 80th minute or later. We lead the league in goals conceded after the 75th minute. We have got to lock down this space of games if we want to have any hope of winning games. Firstly, we have to stack a period of winning, and then we can talk about the playoffs because while it's not totally impossible yet, it is still very unlikely. And I think that will be the key to our success. It seems like David Critchley might have unlocked some belief in the attack. Now we need to see that defensive stoutness that we saw under Olaf with the attacking principles that Critchley has implied. I got to see Tom Franklin and Jake Henry last night, and they were saying that there's going to be a very sweet middle ground in between Critch ball and Olaf ball. And once St. Louis City finds that sweet spot, we are going to be a very, very dangerous team, able to produce multiple goals a game while keeping teams from scoring at all. So I have hope in the team, but for the meantime, like I said, as much as things change, they stay the same. Despite the new manager, we are still conceding late on in games, and that is probably the one thing now that I would like to see Critchley focus on.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I think we can point to a lot of reasons why. One of them being we don't have all of our defenders, and we
Mm-hmm.
haven't had all of our defenders since like week 3 of the season, which we're halfway through at this point. That's a long time to be without your starting caliber defensive line.
Mm-hmm. And mind you, Henry Kessler was playing at a defensive player of the year level before his injury, and in those first five games where we did not concede a goal, period.
Yeah. Um, this does make me ask the question, is it too soon to be convinced by David Critchley to fully hand him the reins of the team?
Jacob, in my mind, it is a little too soon. We've only seen a very small sample size of what David Critchley has to offer. But for the time being, I am feeling much more optimistic with him in control than I was with Olaf. Not to mention, the team appears to be playing more happy. That's the only way I can describe it. Joao Klauss running over to the manager to hug him after scoring a goal is not normal. Generally, you run over to the corner with your team. So right
Yeah.
now, it seems like Critchley has team belief rising, and I like what I'm seeing from him, but I'm not willing to fully hand over the reins yet.
I am.
Okay, get into it. Tell me about it.
I really like Critchley ball.
Okay.
It kind of is that nice middle ground between Carnell ball and Olaf ball,
Mm,
where yeah, we're still conceding like Carnell ball, but we're scoring and like look really fluid in attack. All of our pieces aren't fully put together yet in the puzzle, but
hmm
as far as like product on screen, product on field, I much prefer to watch this than what we were given for like half the year last year and
mm.
then for the first half of the year this year.
Okay, I think that's a sentiment that a lot of fans will share, Jacob, among just being able to watch exciting soccer, even if it is a draw, which is not the most ideal result. It's not a scoreless draw. It's not the worst result in soccer, a nil-nil draw.
I do think our position in the table would look a lot different if we started the year under Critchley Ball.
Mm, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. I do think we'd be higher in the table than second bottom in the West, especially if we had been able to score more goals at many periods of this season.
Those 1-0 losses that we've got
Hmm
might not have been 1-0 losses. But anyways, this kind of takes me into my point, and this is on a happier-ish note, a more positive note. It's a question that I have for Ethan and also you guys as well. If you want to answer it in the comments, I would love to see some people's takes on this. But Klaus is in a contract year.
Mm.
How many games of this caliber from Klaus do you think we need to see in order to give him a contract extension slash re-sign him in the offseason? Not necessarily a hat trick performance, but this dominance in front of goal that we got to see on Saturday.
Well, Jacob, I think it has to be on a more consistent basis than not. And right now, we've probably seen the worst of Klaus. Okay, we've seen him go through a very long period of time without hitting the back of the net, and now we've seen him bag the club's first hat trick. I think we need just more consistency and more production. It just has to be. It doesn't necessarily need to be a hat trick every game, like you said, but a goal pretty much on a game by game basis at this point would be nice. I don't think I'm expecting 20 goals from Klaus. He's on 7 this year though, so
7 all comps, yeah.
it's not unreasonable to expect 10 to 12 goals from Joao Klauss this season, is it?
It's not unreasonable, but is that the mark in which you say re-sign him? Because that's 3 to 5 more goals. We have a half of a season left.
Simply not enough, dude. No. Yeah, I think it's got to be 15 goals for me to think that Klaus should be back in St. Louis City and performing on a level of a good striker in the MLS, not just an average or above average striker, because that's not what St. Louis City is interested in. We don't want, some guy running around up there doing cardio for us wearing a St. Louis City jersey is as good as they might look out there. I want to see that striker that's scoring 15 goals and getting 5 or 7 assists, something of that nature. So for me, I'm going to say 15 goals to get Klaus on a good contract again. And if he can keep up this form, I don't think it's too unreasonable.
For me, my bar's a little bit higher,
Okay.
but not unreasonable to hit because I'm saying 20 goal contributions.
Okay. Yeah. I like that as well. That's a good bar for Klaus.
And if that is 15 and 5 or however you want to divide up the math, it's got to be more goals than assists for sure,
Hmm
but a 20 goal contribution season. would do it for me.
Otherwise, so let's say that Klaus gets under that 20 goal contribution mark. Are you putting him on the transfer block?
I'm probably just gonna let him walk.
As a free agent in his contract year?
Yeah,
Wow.
and then go to the market and sign another DP striker.
I think people are also interested in that, Jacob. I think that there is a section of St. Louis City fans that are very much interested in playing the market and seeing what a quote unquote better striker would fetch us at St. Louis City. I don't know. I don't consider myself one of those people. I'm interested in seeing Klaus try and get that 20 goal contribution mark. And I think, yeah, he gets close, even 18 roundabout there. And I think I would be satisfied.
I'd be okay with it at that point. It's just like you said, we have seen the worst of Klaus.
Hmm.
And with that being said, the cliche of the grass is not always greener. Well, the grass over here was looking pretty fucking dead.
Yeah.
So maybe it is.
Pretty much only room for improvement
Yeah.
looking back. And to be fair, we have got it. We have got it. And I do think that under Critchley, we will see a different kind of Joao Klauss than we've seen. And so I think that expectations will adjust. And I appreciated seeing the Klaus apology forms in the Facebook group chat or the Facebook posts and on Twitter as well.
Yeah. Well, that was my question. Answer it in the comments. What do you guys need to see out of Klaus for him to get re-signed?
It's a good question, man, because not only that, I think I saw rumors on Twitter that Grêmio, a Brazilian club, were looking into him. So
He used to play for them.
is that where he got his start?
I don't know about his start, but he
Hmm.
definitely he's got time at Gremio.
Okay. Fair play. Fair play. Well, Jacob, you ready to get into the final battle between the LA Galaxy and St. Louis City this season? Because we got one more round to go of Kit Clash. Ding, 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 ding. Have we rated this LA Galaxy kit before?
Had to have. I'm pretty sure when we went away to LA early in the season, they wore their home kit and we wore our home kits.
I wouldn't be surprised, man. It seems like we've played them a lot in the past 2 years or so.
At least 6 meetings.
Well, if you're new around here, the LA Galaxy jersey is somewhat of an homage to jerseys in the past. It has a stripe, a sash down going from right to left, not using the space. I don't using the negative space. I'm not an artist or fashion guy to be speaking on that. There's a almost diagonal pinstripes on it. I'm okay with the jersey. It's not the best that the LA Galaxy have ever done. There are much better white kits in their history as well. For me, Jacob, I'm going to go for a very simple 7.8. It is still a white kit, which I like a lot. And also, for a long time, I think for the first half of the season, I didn't really like how the stars looked above the crest, but I think now I do kind of like it.
Yeah, I've got him at a 7.6 because it would be a 7.0, but every star they've got gives it another decimal point. To your point, wow, how many times can I say point? Um, to your point though, it is not their best home kit of the past. It is a clean home kit. This is a high on white kit podcast, so they don't really mess it up too bad. I think the color scheme's great. Just period. LA Galaxy have that down really well. The gold accents look great with that gold star as well with their badge. So it's just it would be an even 7.0, but it's a 7.6.
Okay. I think that's pretty generous, Jacob. I think that year one City Boys might have been a little higher up on that scale, but we've seen a few kits nowadays.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Espe-
We've seen some kids.
Especially the LA Galaxy jerseys, man. By the way, still never lost to them. The LA Galaxy.
Something I'm sure that they would have liked to have ended on Saturday, but we've never taken 0 points away from a Galaxy meeting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think it's something like 5 wins, 3 draws, something like that.
I think it's 2 wins and 4 draws now.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Much less impressive record.
Yeah.
Well, Jacob, speaking of head-to-head matchups between teams, next up we have Orlando City, a team who St. Louis City have only played one time, and we battled to a 2-1 loss against them. And frankly, it would not surprise me for more of the same this season. The Orlando City Lions are very, very good this year, man.
They currently sit fifth in the East on 30 points with an 8 win, 6 loss, and 4 draw record. Most notably, they have a really high-powered offense. Their defensive line is pretty good with is it Alex Freeman as the up-and-coming outside back that's with the
Yeah.
U.S. men's national team right now.
Yep.
He's back there. He's a really promising young up-and-coming attacking fullback in the MLS.
Yeah.
He leaves a little bit to be desired defensively, so it's gonna be either Toy Shirt or Betcher going against him over there. Personally, I would like to see Zande Silva take him on
Mm.
1v1 throughout the game, but we won't. However, their front line is manned by Luis Muriel, who has a very storied career of goal scoring,
Mm-hmm.
Martin Ojeda, and then Ethan's second favorite MLS soccer player in Marco Pasalic.
No, no, no. He's not that high up, but he's a damn good player. He's exciting to watch, and it seems like every damn time I turn on an Orlando City game, dude is scoring a worldie. He has got
A screamer.
a magical left foot this man possesses, dude. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I am very high on Orlando City this year. I think I have gone on TikTok or something and said that they will finish top 5 in the East or something like that, which is no small feat based on how full the East is this year with Columbus, Philadelphia, Cincinnati, and Miami. Those are 4 good teams right there, and there's competition. So there's one other player that I want to point out on Orlando City because I think he has a really cool story that I think you and I, Jacob, will really identify with because Kyle Smith on their roster used to play for a Division 3 school here in Kentucky, actually. The Transylvania University, not uh the vampire, not vampires, I promise.
Transylvania.
And I think Kyle Smith actually ended up signing for Louisville City after his college career, now plays for Orlando City. So I just personally love that story.
That is really cool. Kind of living out the dream we wish we could have.
Hey, I mean, yeah, that's sick. Him and Patrick Aguiman giving hope for all D3 guys out there.
There's a road to professional level. It's just long and arduous.
Yeah. Well, Jacob, do you got any other notes on the LA Galaxy or Orlando City?
Well, we didn't predict anything
Mm.
for the Orlando City game. This is going to piss some people off because we are at home again, and I am predicting another 3-3 draw. I think we honestly would be lucky to get points out of Orlando at this point in our season,
Yes.
just because they are so good attacking. However, with a 10-day rest period, granted, the boys are getting 5 days, but like a 10-day period between matches. Like you said earlier, I am hoping to see Chris Durkin back as well as Henry Kessler. So that's going to shore up our defensive line a lot if they are able to make it back and are healthy. Um, and yeah, I'm not going to go with Klaus as my goal scorer prediction. I'm going to continue on the Marcel Hartel train
Okay.
because he was our charity prediction for this weekend. And if you guys are unaware at this point, Klaus scored all of our goals this past weekend. So I'm going to stay with Marcel Hartle. He's due for one.
Just
And
selfish.
what a better team to do it than the Purple Lions.
I'm also going to switch my goal scoring pick, man, because Klaus is going to share the love, is how I'm feeling. I got Celio Pompeu scoring in this game. This seems like a game begging for him to make a mark on. I think that he could potentially be running at Alex Freeman to expose those defensive frailties that you called out against our man starting for the U.S. men's national team. So I really like a high scoring fixture as well in this game, Jacob. I'm going to go for 3-2, and I'm going to say the 12th man will take St. Louis City over the top and actually get us a victory against a very good opponent. And the reason I say this, Jacob, is because if we want to have any hope in the rest of our season, we need to see St. Louis City beat not just any team. We need to see them beat a good team. And I think that the squad needs that as well to ingest some belief in them. And frankly, after this game, we have Houston. So kind of a must-win game. If we want to pass anyone in the table, we have got to beat the people above us, and that includes Houston and RSL. So I would love to see St. Louis City have, at the very least, a strong showing and go out and put their determination on display. Show us that you back yourselves against a good opponent and that you have hope for the rest of the season still.
Yeah, if we wait till after the summer transfer window closes to start making a push for the playoffs again, it's too late.
And we know this from experience already. It seems like that's what kind of sold us in year two, man. We waited too long to make changes, and the push did not have enough momentum toward the end. Good teams that we encountered were able to shut us down. And we're going to have better teams than Houston RSL on our schedule. So I think now is the time to stack some W's. Let's take 3 points off a good team.
It is blasphemous to ask a team to go undefeated in order to make the playoffs and then continue to stay undefeated in the playoffs to win a championship.
Mm,
We just have to have our playoff berth already wrapped up by the time it shows up.
I agree. I agree, Jacob. And yeah, we don't want the play in game, and I think we're better off in still a lower seed at this point. But I
Which
think
sucks
even
because
still,
that's no home games in the playoffs. Well, I mean,
maybe one in the first
yeah,
round. Either way, man, it's still it feels like almost crazy to be talking about St. Louis City and the possibility of the playoffs right now, just because the reality is we couldn't beat the worst team in the league, and
yeah.
they are statistically the worst team. You could make arguments for Atlanta or Montreal. We did not get 3 points though, so
Atlanta and
I
Montreal also aren't in our conference.
yeah, so just simply not relevant to how we finish in the table.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough.
It will, but like I said, that's been probably my favorite phrase since Critchley has arrived. Unlikely, not impossible. Well, brother man, do you have any final thoughts on St. Louis City?
No, it was just good to be back in the chair, talking ball with my boy. Unfortunately, Grayson is at the US Open this weekend, uh, trying to trying to take down Oakmont.
Yeah, playing by the way, not watching. He's on the links, trying
Yeah.
to keep it out of the brutal roughs over there.
If you look for his name on the cut line, you're probably not going to find it, but he's out there.
He's repping the City Boys hard. Well, all right, man. Rip the outro for us, will you please?
Will do. Let's see if I remember how to do it. If you've been watching it on YouTube, make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. If you've been listening on Spotify, make sure you follow, rate 5 stars. You can also comment on Spotify as well. And most importantly, on Father's Day, do not forget to tell your mother you love her. Peace. STL,
STL. STL.
STL, ST.